turn white. Your face will turn green. Your eyeballs will pop with pressure. Because our doomsday shows the living. For your strength, you're gonna need an awful lot when you see our shocker pictures. So terrifying.
Welcome back to Lost Legacies,
a Hidden City Book Company production.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
So, today, we're talking about how you make a damn vampire movie. If you enjoyed or did not enjoy our discussion last week, too bad. It continues. That's technically part 2.
Unknowingly part 2.
We knew. We knew we were gonna watch a vampire movie. You know.
Oh yeah. So, but unknowingly continuing the discussion of how to make versus how not to make a vampire movie.
Yeah. We talked about this, off the pod, Sam, of how it felt weird because typically what we talk about on the show is something we like. The worst is we'll get to a Lost episode that we didn't really like, and we'll critique it to shreds. But it's kind of easier and more fair to do when you have a show that's 100 plus episodes,
Mm-hmm.
So, it did feel kind of weird to I think we were a bit harsh on Salem's Lot, but at the same time, given the source material, given how many times it's been done, and given the decisions that were made, I think we had a lot of valid points. And in fact, I think we ended up having a really cool discussion, more kind of just on storytelling and on vampires and vampire lore, that when we stopped recording that episode, I was on such a high, I went and rented Abigail. I was I'm just going to rent this off the whatever, the Apple store. And I ended up enjoying it so much, I went to Walmart the next day and I can't see it. I bought the Blu-ray. You can't see it with this camera.
You
Focus.
Did?
There we go.
Oh, wow.
Children can be such monsters. Yeah, it has a gag reel behind the scenes of how they did everything. And last night I watched the director's commentary.
They still make those?
Dude, I know, right? It's wow. It's not even some kind of special edition. It's just the Blu-ray. I was okay, cool.
Wow.
So, yeah. Is there anything else we need to discuss before we jump into it? I'm trying to think what's going on. No, we usually talk about life in the world, but not really. Not much. It's same old, same old.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well. Let's do this then. We're talking about, actually, when was this? Was this a last year movie?
No, this was this year.
Really?
Yeah.
When did it come out?
Early in the year.
You would think they would have saved this for the Halloween season. That's what I would have done.
Well, yeah, but now people can watch it in the comfort of their own homes. For Halloween season.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah. Right here, 2024. We're talking about the 2024 Abigail.
Oh, released in April.
Directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette. I hope I pronounced that right. So they're called Radio Silence?
Yes.
What is that? Is that their company name or
I believe so, yeah.
A duo name?
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so they're the guys who did Ready or Not, and then the two most recent Scream entries, Scream 2022 and then Scream 6.
A lot of times when people refer to the directors, they just call them Radio Silence. I'm oh, that's kind of cool. Maybe we need a name like that. What would they call us? Something cool, I don't know.
I mean, whatever our company would be, so we would just be the Hidden City.
Oh, I guess it's not the same though,
Directed by the Hidden City.
Yeah. Ooh, well, that does have a kind of weird mysteriousness to it. I don't know. Um, yeah. So, how do you want to do this? I guess first off, I'm just gonna say there's nothing I really didn't like about this movie. Like, it was firing on
Mhm.
all cylinders. I enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed the characters' journeys, all the different characters, the acting. Um, Actually, you know what I should do? I'm gonna look this up on Wikipedia because the one thing I can't remember is everyone's names.
Ah,
Which, funny enough, they're all named after the Rat Pack.
yeah.
I thought that was cool because they're like, despite all their rage, they're still just rats in a cage. Yeah.
Okay, now we're mixing up our vampire movies because last year they used that song for the last voyage of the Demeter.
Oh, they did like the creepy, slow,
Mhm.
modern version, right?
Yeah, yeah. You have shots of, a vampire on a boat. The world is a vampire. It's like,
Yeah.
honestly, it was kind of cool. I
Yeah.
liked it.
I typically hate when they do that, but I think it worked for that one.
Yeah, yeah.
What else? They just did something like that with a trailer we saw. I don't, it could literally be any trailer because that's like the thing to do right now.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I got him right here. Joey, Frank, Rickles, Sammy, Peter, and Dean. Okay. Um, I guess I'm just gonna jump in, Sam, because a lot of our issues with Salem's Lot was not that I want to compare it, but it's such an obvious comparison uh, because we just talked about it. But a big part of our problem with Salem's Lot was like that there were no parameters to the world. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they created this kind of sandbox that they wanted us to go in with the characters as if we're part of the journey. But Salem's Lot never felt like we were actually there because we didn't really know what was going on. We didn't know how things worked. Abigail's different.
Yeah.
Abigail, they also take a very meta approach. Like, they all know what vampires are, but from like the pop culture standpoint,
Yeah.
so it's like vampires, what do we know? And they start naming all the weaknesses and stuff. And of course, they don't work.
Yeah.
Um, but it's done fun because I mentioned last time how I don't like when you can have pure evil and then you take something holy like the crucifix and it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Salem's Lot was cool because you literally see it work, but then start to fail with the priest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, that's cool, but yet I guess everyone else in that movie was just had unshakable faith. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
We talked about that.
yeah. So with this one, it's just not a thing. It just doesn't work. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, all right. At least they just get that out of the way. I know what to expect. You
Yeah.
know, in a good way, not in a way that like where it makes it predictable. Um, so they just like dive in with like the vampire stuff, you know. We even see her Abigail fly at one point, even
Mm-hmm.
though it's not really doesn't really come up later. But it was such a cool moment. I'm like, okay, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I need help here because it's like I feel like I don't know what to talk about.
Okay. Um, here's something. Let's talk about setup. Let's talk about
Hmm.
how they bring us into the world
Okay.
because we're introduced to all these characters. It's like they're on a mission. It's like, what are they doing? Are they planning a heist? Like, what are they doing? And like, if we've seen the trailer, we all know, okay, they're gonna kidnap this little
Yeah.
girl. They're kidnapping Abigail. I really like that we go so long just being with these people. Like, we see them like pick up Joey. Like we're getting like these little character interactions, and then, oh yeah, like we've got these people that are already parked outside of the house, and they're just uh like we're waiting. It's all in the anticipation. I'm like, that,
Yeah.
like, this is really cool. And then even after like they pull that off and they go to the secondary location, the quote unquote safe house,
Hmm.
we're still getting to spend time with these people, you know?
Mhm.
So really, like, for all intents and purposes, this is kind of like a crime thriller in a way. And
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people like talking about how like oh, it took too long with the setup, or like it just it like we spent too long like being not having the vampire hijinks. And for me, like, I was in it. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is great,
Mhm.
like getting to know these people and getting to see just who they are, even though we're not supposed to know that much about them.
Mhm.
And then once the vampire stuff starts happening, it's like, okay, this is really cool. Like, for my money, and this might be sacrilegious, as far as like cinephiles go, but recently, I think like last year, I watched From Dusk Till Dawn for the first time.
Mm.
And spoiler alert for a like 28-year-old movie, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, but it's also a heist, or it's also a crime thriller that then halfway through shifts into a vampire movie.
Mhm.
And for my money, I kind of think Abigail does it better,
Mhm. Mhm.
or at least in a way that I enjoyed. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it a lot more. Um, but yeah, I don't know, like, and they both have pretty much like the same runtime,
Mhm.
so it's kind of like, yeah, like we get to a certain point and then the other shoe drops and now they're vampires. And I I don't think you can say that this one worked or this one didn't work, versus the other one.
Yeah.
Like, that might just be a preference thing, but for me, I'm
Yeah.
like, no, like they both do the same job, and I think they both do it well. I just kind of prefer how Abigail does it.
Yeah. Um, okay, so while I'm talking, just try to move your mic to the right a little bit because I cannot see you. So yes, and I think the thing about this, I, I I'll get into this because I did read a review from one of our friends, who said that they wish they lived in the world where we didn't have to spoil things in the trailer.
Yeah.
But like I have to disagree because like I agree in general, but not with this movie. Like I don't think at any point are you supposed to think she's just a normal little girl.
Mm.
Like her turning into vampire is not a twist at all. You know, even if you watch some of her choreography in her opening, like when you do the opening credits, she's doing the ballet. There's some very kind of sinister dance moves she does. I don't know how else to
Hmm.
say it. You know, and it seemed like classically trained dance choreography. I'm not a professional dance auteur or anything like that, so I don't know what I'm talking about. But like it looked, like ballet. But
Yeah.
the way they shot it, the way she moved her eyes, uh, the way it's intercut, like this girl was. I don't want to say she's never portrayed as a victim, but it's like it's teasing it from the beginning,
Yeah.
And they say that in the commentary too when they made it and they got the script for it. They said, "Look, we know people are going to watch the trailer. We know that they know that she's a vampire.
Hmm.
So it's not about making it a twist, but it's about playing with that. And the big their kind of big defense that I take as well is that once the twist happens, it's still not all constant vampire action violence. There's a lot of it, but
Yeah.
there are large dialogue heavy scenes throughout this film,
Hmm.
especially in the beginning, but then also in that second half as well. And it's
Yeah.
because she's toying with them. That's the whole thing. And they're slowly dropping the clues in that first half of like this seemingly little girl is toying with them.
Hmm.
She's playing a game. And then once she turns to the vampire, you really get to see it because yeah, she's hunting them down, but also she's like making deals with certain characters and not the others.
Yeah.
So it just feels natural and you're like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this movie would have played if you didn't know she was a vampire.
Yeah.
I think that would have been my complaint. Like, well, it kind of took for a while to get going, but knowing she is, I think makes that wait cooler. It makes it more suspense. Because then you even get scenes where like Joey, she takes off the handcuffs and she puts it in front of her. I'm like, oh no,
Mm-hmm.
oh, she's uncovering the vampire, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I think it was deliberately made for you to know something was up for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all those people commenting that, they're wrong.
I mean, I initially had that same thought like while watching the movie.
Yeah,
Uh hearing you talk about it and hearing that that's like how the directors wanted it. It's like, okay, I can see that. And honestly, like I don't know how you market the movie any other way. You know?
right. Yeah,
Like otherwise like you're really just marketing that like first half, maybe intercutting it with some stuff that happens later that like something sinister is happening, but we
hmm,
don't know what. And then when people go into the movie, maybe on the off chance that like, you know, it's like, oh hey, it's a vampire. Like,
yeah,
yeah, like I don't know, like it, yeah. I mean, it's kind of the thing that it reminds me of how everybody was upset with this new M Night Shyamalan movie, where you know,
trap.
like yeah, Trap, where like right out the gate, like in the trailer, we find out that Josh Hartnett is the serial killer
Yeah,
that the police are hunting at the concert, and a lot of people are like, oh, like we're just spoiling that, like we're just putting that in a trailer. When Shyamalan himself came out and said that was never a twist.
yeah,
That was just like there's no version of the movie where you get a different trailer and then it, you know, it's like no,
yeah,
like you find out pretty early on in the movie and then the movie keeps going because it's
yeah.
not about the twist. It's about
That's
how this works, you
yeah. That's
know?
literally the plot of the movie. It's not about a dad trying to protect his daughter at a concert. No, it's
Mhm.
about a serial killer trying to escape the cops at a concert.
Mhm.
You know, he's the main character. Like,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
So, I don't know, like I on the one hand I think we've come a long way, you know, kind of culturally to start to view movies in a certain way that's like, oh, okay, like uh I think to put it bluntly, like I think if we marketed Abigail the other way, where it's like it's just a straight up crime thriller where like maybe something like crazy insane happens,
hmm,
and then you get to the actual movie and it's like, oh, turns out it's a vampire.
yeah,
Uh I think that would have put a lot of people off,
yeah. And you
you
know,
know?
at the end of the day, it's a business. They got to make money, and I just don't
Yeah,
think a crime thriller would get the amounts of money and the right crowds that a horror
exactly.
film does.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. So it's
yeah.
like, no, it's using the trappings of this other genre
Hmm.
while putting it square in the middle of a vampire movie. It's like, and I
Yeah.
think that like those are the concepts that are cool, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, it's kind of like Dog Soldiers too, in a way, where it's just like, yeah, we've got this badass like military guys. We got to give them something crazy to fight against. They're gonna fight against a bunch of werewolves,
Yeah.
you know?
Like if you think about I haven't watched it in a long time, but Predator, you
Oh,
know?
100%. Yeah.
You don't do we ever see anything of Predator
At the
before he
very
starts?
beginning.
Do we see him or do we see him hunting? Like what is
No, no,
it?
no. We see the spaceship.
Damn it.
Yeah,
Damn it.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's what
Which,
they do in Prey as well. Like
mm-hmm,
you see
mm-hmm.
the CGI kind of spaceship flying by, and then you see the thing. I'm like, this. It would have been such a cooler reveal if you didn't see that.
Yeah, yeah. Because
Damn it.
yeah, no, I know, I agree with you. Because it's like right up until like the one of the guys dies, you really don't know. Like you get some kind of sense that like there's some crazy stuff happening in this
And
jungle.
there's a lot of shots of where it's the predator's point of view.
Yeah,
So you kind of
yeah.
see it looking down trees. So you know something's there. But like it just kind of like it ruins it. Like if we were just straight up making them like a monster movie, like an alien movie, like okay, fine, I get that. But even
Mm.
like in Aliens, they really postpone showing the xenomorph because they know it's going to be such a terrifying reveal.
Oh yeah.
But then something like Prey and Predator, uh, it's we're smart enough. We know that something is out there. You know, we don't have to see it. Prey is interesting because we do get lots of shots of the predator hunting smaller creatures.
Hmm.
You still don't see it, but you see like the invisible version, you know, and you see like
Yeah.
the blood splatter, and you could tell it's like, oh, that's someone's foot, you know, it's the predator foot or
Yeah.
whatever. So I don't know, I don't know how they would have done it, but I just it really just sucked when we saw that kind of CGI ship fly by. You know,
Hmm.
it's like, oh damn, because other than that, like the reveal was when he's fighting the bear and like he's draining the blood on him. That's the first look of the predator we get.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's rad. So I don't know how else they would have done it. This one for Abigail, it wasn't that cool of a reveal, but like it was like, oh, I like how it was slow. She's slowly taking off the handcuffs, and
Hmm.
she's slowly standing up on the bed, and you're like, oh, damn it. Yeah. So, but I also like that it took so long because they really established the characters, you know?
Yeah.
Whether you like them or not, that's kind of up to you. Like, they're not really supposed to be likable. They're all supposed to be bad guys.
Hmm.
But they're all enjoyable. You know, I enjoyed most of them. I enjoyed most of them just on screen. I'm like, all right, this is cool. You know, so when
Yeah.
certain ones die, I did care. I was like, dude, that sucks.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Rickles deserve better.
no, I really like that.
Well, I mean, yeah, yeah, but I'm just like,
He did.
man,
The
like,
character himself deserved better.
it's like,
But
this
like, I
sucks.
get it. I get it. It's the
Well, it's the Predator thing, you know, because it's like you're sending out these badass commandos
yeah,
into the jungle to go fight, and they all get picked off like nothing. Like
yeah,
technically, Rickles and Joey are the most combat savvy, you know,
yeah,
maybe with the exception of Frank, of everybody. So they're like, yeah, it's us. Like
yeah.
we got each other's backs. Let's go. And then yeah, 2 seconds later,
It's
Rickles is
the
dead.
it's the sea. It's Cabin in the Woods. Chris Hemsworth. You know, you're
Yeah,
like Chris
yeah,
Hemsworth is in this movie. You're like, oh crap.
yeah. Oh,
Uh,
oh.
that was heartbreaking though. So my thing with Rickles was that I'll say he deserved better just because I feel like he was the least written character. Like we just didn't get much from him, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like I get it because everyone else is like a character, you know. And I mean that like they're kind of weird. They're bad people, but they have quirky qualities and they're kind of all lovable. And then Rickles
Mhm.
is just there, no backstory. He's too mysterious for that, you
Yeah,
know. And like,
yeah,
okay, this guy's a survivor, soldier. We never actually see him do anything, but they really kind of hype him up that he's this badass.
yeah,
So I get the reason why he dies so quick. It just it would have hit stronger if he had been a little more established, you
yeah,
know. Yeah, but that really sucked because he has the scene, you know, we're gonna get you home, we're gonna get you to your kid. I was like, okay, cool.
mhm,
So what did they do? They split up. I'm like, oh damn it, damn it. And like what's terrifying though is that like it's so quick and quiet, his death.
yeah,
I was like, oh my god, jeez, bummer. Yeah.
yeah.
I guess since we're talking about characters, let's just go down the list. All right, we talked about
Okay.
Rickles. What about Dean? Angus Cloud, R.I.P. I thought he did good. I thought it was a good role. You know, uh, just not a lot to do.
Yeah.
I feel like most of it was probably improv. Oh, that's the thing from behind the scenes. Like so much of this film was improv, not coherent style, but they really
Sure, yeah.
just. Let me just say, radio silence really let them improv. You know, and
Yeah.
like they have the gag reels, dude, and Dan Stevens is just going off like on his improv. I'm like, dude, I have no idea. I would not be able to keep a straight face in this movie, you know. So yeah, and then like so Angus Cloud did a lot of improv as well, just all of them. I'm like,
Yeah.
Man, that's really cool. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I of everybody who is like this sort of weirdo established character, I'll say it definitely like my least favorite of everybody. Um but yeah, like for what he
Mhm.
kind of represents, like he is the unprofessional one.
Right.
You
Yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's like yeah, there's one in every crew, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's the most tapped in, you know, the I don't Gen Z of the
Yeah.
yeah, of the
It would have been
crew.
interesting to see him react to all of this. Because I like the unprofessional stoner kid. Like, how does he react to a vampire being there? You know, that would have
Yeah.
been interesting. But at the same time, I am glad he was like the first one to go, just because it's like I don't know, like as little written as Rickles was, it's not like I didn't like him. You know, whereas
Yeah.
Dean, on the other hand, I'm like, all right, dude, you're just a punk. You're just playing pranks. It's I'm like, okay, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
so funny role. Just wasn't a lot, but like it sucks when he dies. You know, you're like, oh, okay, bummer.
Mhm.
But yeah,
And especially how they bring him back, you know, where it's
yeah,
like you think like okay, cool, like there's a dead body in the kitchen without a head, like
yeah,
great, we're never going to see that again. I never want to see that again.
yeah.
And then literally like, you know, we keep going and it's like, "Oh, hey, you want to talk about, you know, a vampire toying with people.
Right.
What's scarier than this little girl
Mm-hmm.
in a ballerina outfit doing her routine, parading around and dancing with a headless corpse?
Oh, I know, I
I'm
know.
like that,
That's so
like
messed up.
scary, horrifying.
Yeah,
Like if that happened, I'd be like, no, guys, I'm out. Like I'm just gonna go hide somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take that stuff that Joey has, so I can just pass out and hope she kills me in my sleep.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
No, she won't because it's Abigail. She likes to play with her food. That's literally what she's doing the whole movie.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh man. All right. So next up, let's talk about Peter, played by Kevin Durant,
Oh man,
our
it's
boy from Lost. He played Kimi in Lost. Like, I just
yeah.
love that actor so much.
He's great. He's
Yeah.
great. You know, nice to see him fighting vampires again.
Oh, that's right. He was in The Stand, right?
The Strain.
The Strain. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Brought me back. Brought me back to the good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. I love him. He's just, you know, dumb. He's just a dumb kind of goof, but he's
Yeah.
really big and intimidating.
Yeah, and like it's what's fascinating is that he does have a conscience, but at the same time he knows what his job is. Like he really
Mhm.
doesn't want to kill a kid, but he's going to,
Yeah.
you know? And then the way he becomes protective of Sammy and like it's just little moments of humanity like that, you know? I'm just like
Yeah.
and then he's gonna let Abigail out and Joey shoots him. And he's just like, "Oh, you shot me!" And he literally, like, instantly gives over his gun. There's no way he's
Yeah.
gonna shoot Joey. You know,
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
things like that just like make this typical, like that stock meathead character, just make him lovable and a little more unique.
Yeah.
You know, and it did suck when he died, man. I was like, "Oh, dude, you
Yeah.
know, you're a real one, Peter." Uh, but yeah. So also, it's time to talk Sammy. It's time to talk about Sammy. Well, here's the
Uh-huh.
thing. I feel like every actor, especially kind of the main ones who survived most of the movie, they were all scene stealers.
Yes.
Like anytime they were off on their own, like you're instantly invested. You're like, oh, and Sammy especially, man, she got put through it this movie.
Oh yeah.
Catherine Newton, man,
Yeah.
lovable, adorable, cool. She kind of plays that role of like, well, I don't know, like I'm trying to think like her role in the movie. Um, in a way, in a movie with so much humor, she kind of felt like the comedy relief, even though she wasn't actually doing comedy. It's just like
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
reactions And I don't even know how you write that in the script, you know? Like I feel like it might have just been on the spot Catherine Newton reacting to stuff.
Yeah, probably.
So, and then of course, when she gets bit, you're worried about her cuz like you go a chunk of the movie with her bit and like you don't know what's going to happen, you know?
Hmm.
So like you're constantly like thinking about Sammy throughout it. And yeah, man, and then the whole bloodbath scene. I'm like, "Oh, dude,
Yeah. Gets also she gets one of the best scenes of the movie after she kills Peter,
the dance."
where
Yeah.
yeah, this is interesting where like the vampire who sires you can control you,
Yeah.
but I guess in a way to make it more cinematic, they're like, oh hey, they also have to do the same moves as you. So Abigail is literally like dancing, and Sammy is copying her moves. So they're
Yeah.
both doing the dance. They're both doing this,
Yeah.
and it's such a cool scene. I was just like this was a pretty solid movie, and then once we got to that moment, I was like, this is this is
Dude,
gold. This
and
is gold tier for
again,
sure.
it's not in the script. It literally says, you know, Sammy does a dance over Peter's body. That's it.
Mm,
But both Catherine Newton, who plays Sammy, and Alicia Weir, who plays Abigail, they're
hmm.
classically trained actor or dancers.
Ooh,
So
okay, okay.
the director, I'm sorry, Radio Silence was they basically said, "Hey, let's do it. Let's just put it in." So like originally it was supposed to be like a 30-second dance that Catherine Newton did, but they kept the whole thing.
Oh
And
wow.
they interspersed it, and there was a lot of like music video style editing, which I
Yeah.
think works with this movie and just like the general pacing. I think it works very
Mm.
well. Yeah, man, I just thought that was, and she's dancing to Danzig. So I'm like,
Yep.
okay, okay, this is just really cool.
Yep.
Um, and I hadn't thought about this, but the directors were like, but you know what that means, right? That means that canonically, Abigail is a fan of Danzig, which means probably a couple decades ago, she was probably sneaking away to these punk shows. And I'm
Hell
like,
yeah.
hey, that's
Hell
actually kind of
yeah.
cool. Like, I never thought of that. Like,
Give
yeah,
me that movie, Radio
what's
Silence.
the fun stuff that vampires do, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that I thought that was really cool. But then also, I noticed when I was watching it how Sammy's slowly burning in that dance scene
Oh yeah,
because there's
yeah.
like little rays of sunlight going through the room.
Hmm.
And the commentary said like, yeah, we wanted to play with that because also like Abigail's in control with her, and this is the only way she can enjoy the sunlight. I was like,
Mm.
oh, that's twisted.
That.
So she's
Oh, I
slowly
love
cooking
that.
Sammy as she dances like a
Yeah.
rotisserie chicken. I was like, oh my god. I had that for lunch actually.
Wow.
From Subway, the
Okay.
rotisserie chicken. Mm,
Uh-huh.
mm,
Hmm.
yeah.
It's good. Yeah,
Don't
it's pretty good.
don't talk to me about Subway. I don't want to know the details. I'm just gonna close my eyes and eat it, okay?
Okay.
Oh, and I ordered classic Lay's, but they gave me Cheetos instead. I didn't even know that was an option, so I was happy.
Oh wow, yeah.
I
You can eat
haven't ate
Cheetos.
Cheetos in who knows how long.
Decades.
Well, I don't know about that, but it's been a long
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Yeah. That you can hear more on our lunch podcast we do where we just talk about what we ate today. But for this one, we'll keep going, talk about Abigail.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, yeah, just I love the character Sammy. So cool, so rad.
Hmm.
Um, we'll talk about it later, but she has a cool death. Uh, yeah. So who's left? Okay, let's talk about Frank.
Uh-huh.
One of the most interesting characters.
Uh-huh.
But again, I think it comes down to the actor, you know, because on paper, it's a cool character. I like it. But
Hmm.
the accent Dan Steven uses and the
Hmm.
way he plays him, oh, and the glasses, which were Dan Stevens' idea, those kind of like really wide glasses.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like, dude,
yeah.
just so much fits. Like, this is a scumbag, you know?
Through and
Just,
through, yeah.
yeah, a dirty cop scumbag, a post cop, you know? I'm just like, oh my God. And then there's even moments where you're like, oh man, okay, they're working together, they're allies, okay. No, He's not.
No,
You know, no. And I was,
100%.
but I really like that because I feel like most films would try to do like a redeeming arc or whatever, you know, and like
Mhm.
no, they double down, even more so. And he kind of becomes like the main villain in a way,
Yeah.
you know, which is more. I feel like it more than just that's more. It's more than a plot device, and that's more like a story device. You know,
Mm.
the plot is a vampire ballerina killing everyone in this house, but the story is really kind of like I don't know how you would describe it. Describe it. Joey getting over her own insecurities and struggling with her addiction to to be able to step up and go back home. You know, to her
Mhm.
kid, and the perfect villain for that is Frank. You know, it's not the vampire ballerina; it's Frank because
Yeah.
he's probably the only one in the movie who's smarter than Joey. You know,
Yeah.
or just as smart, and and he's kind of like like the cruel mirror. Like this is what you become when you give up and you run, which
Mhm.
Joey has been doing. You know, so it's like you're either gonna either die a hero or you live long enough to become Frank.
Yeah.
So like that's
Pretty
like
much.
thematically why he becomes the villain in that last act.
Yeah.
Uh and boy, Dan Stevens, if he wasn't having fun before, he sure was then. You
Definitely.
know? I just love like when he comes out with the teeth, he's like, I feel great. Like, oh
Like
dude.
that shot of just Dan Stevens, slicked back hair, razor sharp teeth, grinning this giant grin, and just
Yeah.
blood all over his face and sunglasses. I was like,
Dude,
that's a
with
fucking shot right
with the
there.
bloody glasses, I was like, that
Mm-hmm.
looks so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh man. So and also the whole time, like, you kind of want to root for Abigail because she's such a fun killer,
Oh yeah.
but at the same time, you want her you want her to lose.
Yeah. Well,
You
you
want
know, because
Joey to win, you know.
she's killing everybody. So, you know,
Yeah.
like I mean, it's the same way we sort of root for Freddy Krueger or Jason, but like they're
Yeah.
still the villains. Like we still
Yeah.
want to see them get blown up and sent to hell.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But the scene where she first sees Vampire Frank and they start fighting, it instantly changes. I'm like, no! I was like, you can't kill Abigail? This is her movie. You know? And like, oh man.
Yeah.
So like he just totally embodied that role and also the role of antagonist. You
Mhm.
know? I'm like, that is so it's such a cool I loved Dan Stevens in this movie. I think Dan Stevens is really becoming like one of the top actors of this generation. You
Yeah.
know, I still feel he's extremely underrated. Uh, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, the Downton Abbey guy, right?" I was like, "He was only there
Yeah.
for 3 seasons." I do think it was wise for him to leave, you know, because he's had a
Mhm.
pretty good, a varied career. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um, yeah, man. I don't know. Excellent job, Dan. Yeah. Now I want you to go first on this one, but let's talk about the
Okay.
character of Joey.
Okay.
Thoughts, feelings.
Uh I feel like amongst our collection of scumbags, you know, our pack of rats,
Mm-hmm.
we needed somebody who was not as bad, you
Yeah,
know, like
yeah,
weighing their sins up against everybody else. Like they're not technically that bad.
yeah.
Um, yeah, like yeah, Joey is kind of a victim, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
victim of choice, like her own choices, the circumstances that brought about. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
like you know, she's trying to do what's right, but she's scared,
Mm-hmm.
and I really like it. I think like I really I like that this is a role for Melissa Barrera.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they could have given it to an actress, like a stronger actress.
Mm-hmm.
but I like what she's doing. You know,
Yeah.
in a weird way, like it kind of feels this feels like an extension of her role in the Scream movies, where
Mm,
like she does have to put on this like she does have to put on this like tough act, you
yeah.
know, even though she's so scared, even though she's doing all this stuff. This time is
Mm,
like, no, she's you know, combat ready, you know,
hmm.
she's medically trained, like she knows all this stuff. It's just that she's up against a supernatural force,
Yeah.
you know. Um, but yeah, it's like I like I like Marissa Barrera in this role. I think she maybe could have brought it a little bit more,
Hmm.
but I think this will be an interesting stepping stone where she goes next, you know?
Yeah. My thing is like I kind of felt like it's so weird because it's kind of like Rickles. I felt like it was a very underwritten character. And like throughout the movie, we find out more
Hmm.
and more about her background, but it's just like it never really hits, you know? And it's like I've never seen Melissa Barrera in anything. So
Hmm.
this is my first time, and I think she does good. I think she's a good lead actor. I just don't think there was a lot in this role.
I
Um,
think yeah, I think she needed more than just like stock story beats, you
yeah,
know? It's like, oh, she's trying to get her kid back.
yeah,
Oh, she's a recovering, you know, addict, you know, kind of
yeah,
thing. Like it's like I feel like they needed like another pass just on her character, just to
yeah,
give her something more, you know?
yeah, yeah. Like I don't know like what they would have added or what or changed, but
Hmm.
yeah. I feel like it was a missed opportunity. It might have been two on the nose, but I just feel like it's a missed opportunity that they chose to have a former drug addict as the lead and not tap into the fact that that's essentially what vampires are.
Yeah,
You
I
know, I
agree.
thought that would have been interesting. Again, it might have been a little too cheesy. I don't know,
Well,
but
yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly earlier, where it's like Frank is the dark version of Joey. You know,
yeah,
they even have that conversation where Abigail's like literally saying who everybody really is.
yeah, yeah,
And it's crazy how similar Joey and Frank are,
yeah.
because, you know, they are both addicts,
Hmm.
but it seems like Frank just kind of gave in to his vices. And they even said that, like, you know, Joey's trying to fight to get back to her kid.
Yeah,
Frank didn't. He left not to save them, to save himself,
yeah,
you know? And that's sort of like, you know, him becoming the vampiric villain at the end is, I guess, that kind of way of saying like this is what happens when you fully give into that,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
It's like when you succumb to the addiction.
yeah. And she's not a drug addict. That's in her past. So she's gotten past that, but she still deals with the guilt and, like you said, the fear of going home and stuff. And that's the
Hmm.
thing. We see her struggle with it, but we never really see the turning point. You
Yeah.
know, it's like, oh, she survived. And that's something Danny Boyle was talking about Sunshine. And in the big like climactic scene when all hell's breaking loose, they have Killian Murphy in the giant spacesuit walking through the ship, and they specifically filmed the movie in a certain way where his character, who's the lead of the film, but you don't really know it because it starts as an ensemble piece, you know,
Hmm.
and then when they have the big scene where everyone is in one scene and they're all discussing the mission and what they're going to do. Kappa's purposely left out of a lot of those shots because he's sitting off to the side.
Yeah.
And the way that scene ends is when they realize doesn't matter what we say, this guy has to make the call. And he's like, oh shit. You know, and
Yeah.
Danny Boyle was saying that's all the hero's journey. It's because he's not the lead yet. And he's like, so by once people start dying and stuff, like we needed the moment where not so much where Kappa becomes the lead, but where Killian Murphy takes over the film.
Hmm.
And so they have the scene, and he's supposed to fall down. He has to get up in the suit. Well, the suit's super heavy. So Danny Boyle literally has crew members. Cillian Murphy didn't know, but he had crew members holding him down as he's trying to pick himself up. So you get that,
Ooh.
like the Iron Man shot, where the camera's in the helmet.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
get these scenes of Cillian Murphy just like screaming, trying to stand up, and Danny Boyle's thinking is like, that's what we needed to see. We need to see the moment Cillian Murphy becomes our lead actor. And I
yeah.
feel like there's nothing in this for Joey or Melissa Barrera, because it goes from, okay, Joey and Frank are the last two. Frank turns on her. Abigail shows up, gets taken out. Okay, he fights her a little bit. Abigail saves her.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
becomes
yeah.
this three-way fight, and like we never see Joey on her own in this movie.
Mhm.
Except when she tries to make that call to her kid, which was a great scene. But that's what I wanted to see more of. We get that she's strong and she's confident, she's smarter than everyone else. And when she's by herself, it's because she lets everyone else go fight, which I thought was a really fun scene.
Yeah.
But like I wanted to see that at the end. I wanted to see like something like kind of primal come out of her. The mama bear side of her come out.
Yeah, yeah.
And we never did. And I think that again, it has to do with the script writing, because acting wise, I think Melissa Barrera was there, and I think she could have brought it more.
Mhm.
Like you said, I just don't think it was in the script.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think
Yeah.
she needed to earn that before Abigail shows up to help.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like my one thing about it. But other than that, I loved it. And we kind of talked about most of the movie already just by going through the characters.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, how did you feel about the ending when what's his name?
Matthew Good?
Yeah, I forgot what the character's name is.
Oh,
Where he-
Lazar.
Lazar. When
But he's
Lazar
cre-
shows up.
But he's credited as father.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um
Or the directors called this out, and I called it out when I was watching. He looks like Jamiroquai on the statue and in the paintings, because he has that
He's
that
got
coat
that big ass
and that
hat.
big ass hat. I was like, is that Jamiroquai?
Why is the hat so big?
I don't know. Just stop the sun, Sam. Obviously.
I was honestly surprised he didn't like just come out like floating. It's like virtual insanity.
The whole library set just starts rotating.
Do-do, do-do, woo.
Which, speaking of sets, dude,
That
movie,
library, this gorgeous sets
the
throughout.
whole house was an actual like mansion they filmed at. The
Oh, wow.
library was a set that they built.
Mm,
Beautiful. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I want that in my house.
yeah.
Like, I would probably remove the Jamiroquai statue. Or I would leave it, but I would take out the girl just because that makes it a vampire, I would just have Jamiroquai up there.
Hang on a second. So you're gonna take out you're gonna take out part of the vampire statue that makes it a vampire statue. So in your house, you're gonna have this grand library, and the centerpiece of it is a statue of Jamiroquai.
Yeah, because I'm not scared of Jamiroquai. You know? Abigail, what the? You can throw that in the dumpster.
Wow. Okay.
Creepy little ballerina kid. Man.
Wow.
Okay, but okay. Back to
Okay.
we're serious film critics here at Lost Legacies.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Oh
for
yes.
Sure.
So what did you think about Lazar showing up?
I liked it. And it's interesting because it gives Abigail an arc, especially like. Here's the thing, like I think somewhere along the way they just kind of decided like, oh hey, I don't think we can kill Abigail.
Yeah, I wonder if there was ever a draft where they did.
That's what I'm interested in, because having like turning Frank, having him end up becoming the main villain, and then our hero has to team up with the vampire that's been killing all these other people. Like, it's an interesting twist, and I like that dynamic. But it does kind of just feel like, would you do this if it wasn't a kid?
Right. Yeah.
Would you do this if it was? And that's the thing. Like, she's not even a kid. She just looks like a little kid. This is a centuries old vampire.
Yeah.
who just happens to look like a ballerina.
Right.
So, that's like that was mostly my gripe, is that I don't like. I thought that twist of Frank being the actual evilest vampire of all,
Hmm.
and is hurting Abigail. Like, I thought that was a step too far.
Mm.
Um, but on the whole, I still enjoyed
Yeah.
everything. I enjoyed how they did it, and we got a pretty sick fight scene out of it, towards
Yeah.
the end. So I was like, okay, cool. So I like it makes sense, and then having Abigail's father come in, like, that just kind of wraps up her character arc of being like, my dad puts me here because he
Yeah.
doesn't visit me. I have nobody. It's a way for her. That's kind of the thing. Like, there's a connection between Abigail and Joey, but it's not through the vampirism. It's
Hmm.
because of what's missing from their lives. Joey is
Right.
missing her son, and Abigail is missing her father.
Right.
So that's the thing that links them.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like, yeah, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like that's the moment I was talking about that Joey doesn't have. You
Hmm.
know, Abigail standing up to her father, and it wasn't like a huge thing. It was just a simple scene, between a father and his daughter, who
Hmm.
just happened to be vampires, and it was well done. And I like how he's such a dick. He even says, "I showed up when you needed me," but then he even stops and like he just looks into her eyes and he realizes what he's done by not being there. He's like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
he's like, "Okay." He's like, "The important thing is that I'm here now." Like he gets it. He's like, "Oh, I screwed up," you know. I
Hmm.
think if he truly believed, he's like, "You didn't need me," he would have killed Joey,
Yeah.
But he's like, "Oh, I'm in the wrong," you know. I guess there is some kind of wisdom you get for being centuries old.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I like that. It was weird. It's like it's not that I dislike that scene or that he shows up. It's the fact that Joey didn't get that same kind of character bump at the end,
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but no, I thought that was good, especially for like a one scene character. I was like, damn, he did pretty good. So
Hmm.
um,
But, like, comes in and is just obvious vampire.
oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Like he's got the clothing, like the clothing and the swagger, sure. But then
yeah,
we like pan up to his face and just like teeth bared, skin like deathly pale. I'm like, at least Abigail looks like a human being, like a human
yeah,
child. Like,
yeah, yeah,
Matthew Good, like, you're just a vampire.
yeah.
But I get it. It's the end of the movie and we don't want to confuse people. It's like,
Right.
yeah, no, like, this dude's obviously vampire. I here's the thing. Here's the thing. This might not surprise anybody. If this is a one-off, it's good. It's
Yeah.
it's great. I enjoy it. I'm gonna keep watching it. If there's a sequel, I want him back.
I want him back too in some capacity, but I
Yeah.
don't want it to not be Abigail's movie.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
100%. Yeah.
I kind of dug the idea of Lambert and Frank teaming up to take over,
Hmm.
but like, what if that's Abigail? Like, Abigail needs Joey for something for the sequel.
Hmm.
I'm like,
That
that would be interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, she's reconnected with her family and then she gets picked up in the middle of the night. Like, what's going on? It's like,
Yeah,
I need you. It's
yeah.
like, oh, like, whoa. And then we
So
get the crazy ass team up,
yeah,
What
speaking of,
here's what we're pitching. Blade 2, but it's
oh
Abigail.
god, speaking of sequels, so Radio Silence they just confirmed they're working on Ready or Not 2 next.
Yeah, I
So
did hear that.
maybe,
That's interesting.
yeah, maybe after that they'll do Abigail 2 or something. The
Abigail, hey,
Reckoning.
they gotta hurry because Alicia Weir, she's not gonna stay
That's true. She's gonna grow up quick.
she's not gonna stay little forever.
But that's the most important character that we've talked about, but haven't really talked about yet. The character of Abigail.
Hmm.
If that character didn't work, none of this movie works.
Hmm.
And I don't know how they found this kid. Like she did a great job playing
Hmm.
a centuries old vampire in a little kid's body.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, she's
Yeah.
so creepy and like, and it's not just kid like someone being creepy because they're a kid. It's like, no, this girl's like acting her heart out. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa. I'm
It's
like,
like
this
you
is
like
good.
again, like going back to the scene where they have her locked up in the elevator, like the elevator shaft. It's like
Mhm.
she's in a room with four other actors who all have varied careers, very storied careers.
Yeah,
Even the younger ones, like Catherine Newton.
yeah,
Um, and but you know they're all top level performers. And Abigail, Alicia Weir, is matching their intensity,
dude.
kind of surpassing it as well.
Yeah,
It's like that's such a great, like, what a fantastic showcase for an actor. Like, she's
dude.
great. She's incredible.
I once worked with someone who said, I will only cast dancers going forward,
Mm.
even if it's not dance projects. And I think it's just something because like dancing is such a physical thing and you literally have to treat your body like a tool, you know?
Hmm.
Not in the way
Hmm.
actors do where it's like, okay, your vocals will help you do this and all this other stuff. It's like, no, it's like you have to have discipline, you know, to be a top dancer. And I think that's part of it. Like
Hmm.
you have to give 110% every time. You know, there's no oh, what's my motivation? You know, your motivation is to do your job. Like I don't know. And I was thinking about that while watching this movie, and I'm like, damn, yeah. So yeah, a lot of Abigail's stuff, like a lot of the movement was just like, oh, she runs or she chases or she does whatever. And like Alicia Weir, she wanted to do as many stunts as she could, and
Hmm.
she just added so much. So they shot everything like multiple times. So they have a lot of takes where like she just runs after someone in the hallway. And then they're like, okay, let's do the ballerina one. Where she's like twirling down the hallway. I'm like, ooh. And I
Hmm.
think they used all the ballerina stuff just because it looked great. Like when she
Yeah.
kind of jumps up on the like the banister of the staircase.
Oh,
I'm like,
what a moment.
dude,
What a
like,
moment. And it just, like, it makes sense because it's like, one, she's a vampire, so she's gonna
yeah,
have like this like incredible agility.
yeah.
But then she's a ballerina. She
Hmm.
loves dancing. So of course she's going to be able to do something like this and make it fun. She's playing with her food.
Yeah,
She loves to do this. It's like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, fantastic.
It's a game, it's a dance to her.
Hmm.
And oh, so that was the scene where she's dancing with Dean's body, that was Alicia Weir's idea, the way she has the hand on her face.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, that's so creepy, man. This little lonely girl, you know?
Oh, even the fact that she's so into the dance that she is legitimately shocked when they like show up.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they're full on like standing there staring. They're in the room. They're not in the
yeah,
doorway.
yeah,
Like, and then she like, yeah, she does the thing like the dead hand caresses her skin, and then she like looks over and she's like, oh, like
dude.
surprised that they're there. I'm like, oh, this
There's
is
so many
great.
scenes like after that scene because she messes everyone up.
Yeah.
And then she's just there, just kind of like it looks like she's catching her breath, and she's just covered in blood. I'm like, oh, that's so creepy. That's so
Hmm.
good.
Hmm.
Oh man, like so many things could have gone wrong with this movie, but they didn't. They
They
just
did it.
landed perfectly, like a
Hmm.
ballerina.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude. Like I think that might have been one of my favorite scenes, the whole stairway fight scene. Just
Mm-hmm.
because she's like twirling and pirouetting and like doing all the ballet stuff
Hmm.
while fighting, and then it kind of ends when she grabs not Dan, Frank's leg, and she starts to fly, and everyone's freaking out. She flies, like, oh my god, yeah. So much cursing in this movie,
Oh yeah.
so good. Oh, by far my favorite line of the movie. Sammy, those are fucking onions. I laughed so hard, dude. I don't know. It's just his look. Like he is so pissed off that she
Well, because
doesn't
she
know.
runs it, she runs in, she's so confident, she's got the bag, she's like, I got him, and he's just like, Sammy, those are fucking onions. Well,
Oh my god, I loved it.
uh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, man. I don't. What a wild
So
ride.
this movie proves that in the Abigail universe, Italians can be vampires.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
They can eat garlic and they can wear crucifixes. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Oh man. Oh, I love when she because Peter has the little crucifix and she
Hmm.
just starts stabbing him with it. I was like, oh, it's
Oh,
so painful.
I know. I
And
was
then
like,
there's that,
ow.
and then when she attacks Sammy, she's just straight up like punching her in the chest like super fast. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, oh. It was just like it had so many like little unique moments like that that just kind of build and build and build upon themselves that just like further enforce like how dangerous this vampire ballerina is, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh wow. So, yeah. Um, yeah, man, I don't know what else to talk about. Did we leave anything out?
Lambert.
Lambert, it was a small role. Anyone could have done it, but how do you say his name? Gina Carlo?
Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yep, but I mean
I
he kills everything he's in,
like
you know?
he kills it. He's great. But
Yeah.
exactly like you said, he's great in everything.
Yeah.
I want him to be like, let him be part of the Rat Pack. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I want and we've had this conversation off pod, but I feel like every single role that he has now is just some lesser version or varying version of the role he has in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
He's
They just want him
just
to be a bad guy.
creepy bad guy,
Yeah.
generic creepy bad guy. And I'm like, yes, he's great at that. He's also incredibly funny. He's
Yeah.
incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Like maybe he wouldn't fit within this, group, but
Hmm.
I like give him a movie like this. Like let him be the comedic one in one of these. Like
Yeah.
do like the subversion, like kind of how they did it with like Kevin Durant, where he's this big, intimidating, imposing guy, but he's a sweetheart. He's a
Yeah.
sweetie. Give that to him where he's just like, the cool, calm demeanor, is like, yeah, he's very demure, very collected. And then uh, busts out like a really funny joke or something. And it's like,
Yeah.
wait, what? It's like, yeah, like he's here to have a good time,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, like
Yeah.
I do I like the implication that they add with him trying to sway Frank over. It's like we can take over this guy. If there is a sequel, I would like to see like
Hmm.
more of the machinations
Because
of the
even
world.
Abigail knew about it. She's like, "Oh, did Lambert try and convince you to join
Hmm.
him and take over?" You know, so like
Hmm.
she was already onto it. So it's like maybe in the future, like that'll be her plan. You know,
Hmm.
I don't know. So one thing we have talked about it a lot, but I do want to go back and emphasize was the house.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah.
that is how you make an a location a character, and it was just so cool, you
Hmm.
know, because it's not like we're just getting montage. I think there's like one cutaway shot where we see like the bearskin rug in front of the fireplace.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Everything else is just it's people doing stuff. I thought the way they kind of handled montages were good, especially because they keep splitting up the group and everyone goes off on their own. So we're seeing different parts of the house that just kind of lead credence to how big and creepy this place is.
Hmm.
And I loved it, man. Like I absolutely loved the location in this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think the
yeah,
last thing I want to mention is the music.
yeah.
Brian Tyler, I believe, is the one who does the music.
Hmm.
Uh, just automatically right out the gate using the opening of Swan Lake.
Hmm.
One, it's such an incredible piece of music. It has a long history, within ballet and within like music history, but it also has a significant spot in horror movie history because that's how they open Dracula, Todd Browning's Dracula with Bela
Hmm.
Lugosi. And for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, like that piece of music is synonymous with vampires.
Yeah.
So this being a Universal movie, this being a vampire movie, like
Hmm.
I can't help but feel like that was like their big homage to, that. And then having the music like play again, like at certain other parts throughout the movie, and then we get like different versions of it, and I could be wrong, but I feel like even like the ending fight has a sort of like Swan Lake
Hmm.
leitmotif to it, like because like that is in a way like Abigail's theme.
Yeah, yeah.
So like so I think it gets added like somewhere within the fight, like, and it's of course it's dramatic and bombastic and but yeah, I don't know, like there were just so many different variations of them. Like that's how you perfectly create a theme and then weave it in through the rest of the movie in these fun ways. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it was great, top tier.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
Yeah. Me too. That was
Yeah.
rad. I had fun. I had so much fun with it. Um, I don't. It's so weird because last week we were talking about how do you tell a relevant vampire story, and it's like, and I think I said this last week too. I was like, oh, it's easy. You just focus on characters you like,
Yeah.
and that really is what it was. Because like there, script wise, there's nothing really unique to the story here other than it's a vampire ballerina kid.
Hmm.
You know, it's like okay, cool, but it's how they used it. You know, it's how the characters they created and how the actors, how much the actors pretty really had input on the characters. You know what they did. You know, so you do really grow attached to them, for better or for worse. And like that's how you tell a modern day vampire story.
Hmm.
So I don't know, man. I'm excited to see what they do next.
Yeah.
What Radio Silence does next, but also I'm just kind of it's kind of turned me back on to vampires a little bit because even talking Salem's Lot,
Mm.
I've just we talked about how we would tell a vampire story. So like it's just been on my mind and I have had a vampire script in the works for a very long time.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So,
Yeah.
and I have several playlists dedicated to it. So, I don't know. I may have to crack that open again.
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. So, what are we gonna watch next week? It's gonna be our final Halloween movie for the year.
I feel like we just started.
I know, I
We
know.
just started, man.
October's so short, dude.
I know. Yeah, but not in my heart. Not in my heart. Look, spooky season goes from like, for me personally, it goes from like tail end of August all the way into like maybe like middle of March. That's
So you
prime.
give yourself off for the summer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, you
Exactly.
see, you're lucky because I wanted to do this to talk about Halloween stuff, spooky stuff.
That's true.
See, I enjoy Halloween, but I've never been the Halloween guy. I've always been a Christmas guy. So
That's
you're
true.
lucky. I'm not. All right, Sam. First week in November, we're just watching Christmas movies for the holidays.
Hey, you know what?
Hallmark originals.
We're gonna watch the movie that plays out like a movie, and then we're gonna watch the other movie that is literally the exact same movie.
Dude, I've been thinking about that, and I'm kind of thinking like maybe we should.
I feel like we should. I feel like that'd be fun. That would be a fun. But I feel like the only way it works is that we just do. Uh, it's just one episode where we're
Yeah, you
talking
just
about
do
both of
one.
them. Yeah, because I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because I feel
Uh,
like after we watch the second one, that's all we're gonna want to talk about.
so listeners, what we were talking about, I'll just let you know real quick. Dan Harmon, creator of Community,
Hmm.
did a post a couple years ago about these two Hallmark movies he watched with, I think, his wife. One is called Sister Swap Christmas in the City.
Hmm.
The other one is called Sister Swap Hometown Holiday. Are they sequels? No. Are they did one come out before the other? No. They both dropped at the same time. Both movies are the exact same plot, the exact same story, exact same dialogue, but well, there are some dialogue changes. and certain ways that the film is edited is different. So Dan Harmon just like had this meltdown on the internet of how there's two movies that are the exact movie. They're just edited and told a little differently, and he doesn't know how this happened. And everyone online is like, this has got to be a scam, right? Like, they got X amount of money to do two movies, but they really only made one.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. So, maybe if you're good for Christmas, we'll bring you a treat, and Sam and I will watch both Sister Swap movies off the Hallmark Channel.
Never thought I'd hear you say that. Never thought we'd say that on the
That's
pod.
like some coherence level stuff, you know? Like, okay, is this the first reality or is this the second one?
No. It's like one of these movies was beamed from another dimension. But the only thing that's different are a couple lines of dialogue and some editing choices.
Oh no.
Does it make the movie better though? I don't know.
Oh man.
Wow. Okay.
So we're not watching that next week.
We're not watching that
for the
next
holidays.
Week. Who knows? It could be the most terrifying thing we see all year.
I know. What if we watched them both at the same time?
Whoa.
One on like the monitor, one on the laptop. Yeah. That would be nuts.
It was like how I was saying, like after I watched Tenet, I was like, there's gotta be some like young film major right now who's trying to edit Tenet so that both the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie play at the same time and then meet in the middle.
Yeah.
I want to watch that version. I want to watch that edit. Okay.
I'm good.
Could be fun.
I gave up. I saw it once and I'm glad I did. That's it.
I'll give it another shot. It'll be a while. Okay. So, like you said, we're ending out the Lost Legacies Halloween spooktacular specials. I have the movie. I'm sorry. I know what movie we're watching. I love it. I'll say no more. I'll say that it is a movie that you showed me the trailer of, and you're like, Sam, what is this movie? What are they doing? And then you never saw it, and then so I had to see it, and I fell in love with it, and I'm really, really excited to show you this, and because I'm really thinking that you're gonna love it. We are watching Malignant.
I forgot about that movie.
You're damn right we're watching Malignant.
All right.
Yeah. All I am from day one. I have been a Malignant stan.
Oh my god.
And I stand by it.
This is gonna be scary.
You want to talk about character? You want to talk about crazy, insane, like cinematography? You want to talk about some action sequences? And you want to talk about just crazy stuff that goes on in movies.
Okay, so where do we watch this? Where is Malignant?
Malignant should still be on HBO Max.
Okay. Listeners, we just had like a 5-minute discussion, and I realized I was talking about the wrong movie. So I don't know how, but I'm going to try and cut that out. Easy to do on the podcast. Not sure how to do it on the video. I'll have to figure that out.
We'll do a George Lucas wipe, just like in Star Wars.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're
talking about something completely different.
So I'll say this: I have no memory of Malignant or this trailer that Sam said I liked. So now I'm really curious.
You're not allowed to go back and watch the trailer.
Not allowed. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go check this out. I remember the actress. That's it. But I don't have any idea. And it's James Wan, or did he produce it?
Yes, James Wan.
Fuck. I know this guy's scary. I like his Fast and Furious movies, but I don't know about his horror stuff.
Hey, he did Aquaman.
Never saw it.
Oh, I thought you had. Oh, well, okay. I enjoyed it for what it is.
I guess I'm screwed. We're gonna find out. I'm very curious because I remember us talking about it like when it came out, and I remember y'all wanted me to really see it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out one day. I guess that day is now.
Yep.
All right. Well, listeners, we're watching *Malignant* next week.
Wish him luck.
Join us. I'm predicting this is going to be the scariest of the 4 we've done.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. You see. Okay.
But that's the thing. Like I knowing that you agreed to do horror movies this month, I was like,
I should
okay.
have had some rules. I'm kind of. I should have. The one I'm not watching is *Hereditary*. Nope.
Okay. See, like, and that's kind of the thing. Like, you know, obviously knowing you because we've grown up together. And then also we've just had so many discussions about it and just so many recently that I'm like, I know that there's a vibe that you get. And then when we watched Salem's Lot, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, like I get it. Like these are the kinds of horror movies that you really that you could be into or that you could really enjoy. Yeah. You know, and then again with Abigail, I'm like, yeah, this is the vibe.
And so, listeners, I know we're going long here, but you know, Sam and I have talked about this for a long time of how I'm not a fan of horror, but I do appreciate it, and there is like a science to a filmmaking science behind it. You know, when you look at horror films, comedy films, and action films, they're all movies that completely and totally rely on keeping your blood pressure up.
Yeah.
You know, or just making your heart beat a little faster. And there's like a science to it. And I think there's a lot of cross between, and I think Abigail's a good example of that, between like horror and comedy and even action.
Yeah,
you know,
action,
they really go through all 3 genres, and it's all about keeping your blood pumping. And so yeah, there is like this kind of sick masochistic, you know, side of me I'm like, ooh, something scary. I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah.
You know? So, all right.
But to your point, and to your point, I think you'll get a kick out of how spooky and kind of actiony *Malignant* is.
Nice.
That's all I'll say.
All right, listeners, join us next week while we watch *Malignant*.
Thank you for joining us this week.
Yeah, let me know if you think I'm gonna like it or not. Also, if you got any comments or questions or concerns about Abigail, let us know. Hit us up on the socials, hashtag Lost Legacies.
Yeah.
I'm on Twitter at _Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Reel, that's REEL, Texas Weirdo.
Until next time, because it's a vampire movie, suck it.
Suck it.